Hey fam. Hey fam, hey. It's your girl. It's your girl. It's your girl. It is your girl, Michelle Franklin, honey, Miss Michelle Allen Franklin on Facebook, Miss Michelle D.I., Miss Community Builder. This is your girl. I'm here. Here today is Friday, boo, May the 19th. We are here for yet another day. Praise God for that we're on this side of heaven. Yet another day, yet another chance to get it right, honey. What is Michelle D.I.? Who is Michelle D.I., honey? D.I. is divine intervention. That means that there are no coincidences in this world, honey. Only God's divine intervention. At least that's what I believe. You can believe however you want to believe it. You can say it was a coincidence. Okay. But only God's divine intervention in our lives. And then a community builder. What is that, girl? That is who I am. Down to the core of me. That means that I bring, give, to the core of me, love to do, give you the necessary information. What for the community, honey, that builds us up, that keeps us together, that's keeping us going, that is, while we're on this side of heaven, giving us the steps we need to be the best versions of ourselves, honey, getting you to purpose. Yeah, get outside that box, boo. You don't belong in there. Yeah, butterfly, spread your wings. Come on, honey. We all have our cocoon phases, right? We all gotta, go through the muck and the crazy and all of the stuff. But baby, when you come out, and that's where we're at, honey. When you come out, spread them wings, boo. Spread them wings. Anybody in this world is thinking that you are supposed to be the same as you were yesterday, guess what? No, boo, you're supposed to change. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to be better than we were the day before. I know I'm definitely not the same person I was yesterday. I've learned something new since yesterday, honey. I've learned something new since last month. I've learned something new since every day I try to learn something new to just make me a better person. How can I give back? What can I do? That is me. That's who I am to the core of me. I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for 22 years, but your girl I feel like I found my purpose, honey. I spiraled in depression, anxiety, panic attacks after my big mama and my dad passed away back in 2015. And for 2 years, I suffered in silence. Yeah, I suffered in silence. I didn't know what was going on with me because that's what we do. We have somebody very significant in our lives that might pass away, and we're going and being and doing. Boop, boop. Yep, I gotta go to work. I gotta go do this. I gotta take the kids. I gotta go just trying to go and be and do, and trying to figure out why you're going and being and doing is so much harder than it used to be. I was hitting the snooze button. I'm not a morning person, but I was hitting it way longer than I should have. I was having panic attacks in the morning, just losing spaces of time. I didn't know what was going on with me. I felt like I was having a heart attack. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was underwater. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have a full picture of all of it. And then when I did find out what was going on, I took my medicine for a little while, and then I started feeling better. And I was like, oh, the lady told me this situational depression that I had. She said, oh, that's normal. It's situational depression. I said, oh, okay. So that means it's going to pass. It's going to go away. So I had been waiting for it to pass. So when I would take my medicine and feel better, I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's passed now. I feel better. And then I stopped taking my medicine. And then it would. Mm, 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 mm. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. And then I take my medicine again, and then I feel better. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I feel better. Then I stop taking my medicine. Baby, they say nurses and healthcare professionals are the worst patients. We are. We are. The worst patients, honey. The worst. And so that went on, honey, until I got to a point where I was just so disgusted with myself because I am an emotional eater. I stress eat. And so I found myself at 270 pounds looking in the mirror like, who is this girl? Not being able to go and do the things that I was used to going and being and doing, because then life just kind of slows down. Everything else, it seems like, is moving like in the fast lane. And you just over there with your little turtle self, just like, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm gonna be there. Just late, late all the time, late for everything, honey. The anxiety, whoo, just the overthinking, whoo, just all of it. Oh my goodness, it can be overwhelming, and then you're feeling some kind of way about yourself because you're not used to feeling this way, and then it is, what's wrong with me? Man, am I crazy? What's going on? Like, why I used to be able to do this, now I can't do it now. What's going on? It used to be so easy. What's the problem? So you feel you've internalized, right? You think something wrong with you. What's wrong with me? Something wrong. What what happened? You're not processing what happened when, when mama passed, when dad passed, when grandma passed, when big mama passed, when granddaddy passed, when your sister, your brother, your uncle, your favorite person in the world passed, your friend, right? Don't let it have been COVID. And Lord have mercy, we had periods of times I got phone calls where whole families had passed away. I mean, multiple people in the family. I couldn't imagine. And we're just trying to get up and go and be like we did yesterday. We're just trying to act like nothing has happened. Why are we doing that? Because there's nothing out there that teaches us that we are okay to slow down. It's okay to take a minute. It's okay to take a breath. It's okay to go and do something for yourself. It's okay to go on a vacation to get away after something crazy has happened. People are like, oh my God, what happened? Where'd she go? Why is she doing that? She must not have cared about it. What? To stay consumed in the darkness, how we process things, right? To stay consumed in darkness, to stay stuck in that place. No, it's good to go out, to do something, to have, a distraction, a very intentional distraction. My nephew passed away back in April, and I will tell you, because of my history of handling death, I've had people that passed away, but before my baby mama, my dad passed, I hadn't had people that were that close to me to pass away like that. And to have, the people that are close to you to pass away, that's something different. You're going to feel different. You're going to be different. You're going to be sitting and waiting to go back to how things were. Is that what we always want to do? We want to go back to how things were before. No, what we have to learn is how to live life now differently, because life isn't the same anymore, right? That's the myth, right? That we got to get back to where? We got to get back to when, well, a lot has happened since then. So how about we create a world and a mind and a shift in mindset where how am I moving forward in this new chapter that I've been given? And I say given because it is a gift that you are still on this side of heaven, right? A lot of people don't look at it like that. We have survivor's guilt. We have remorse. Some people have passed away in crazy circumstances and cars and, car accidents and different things. And you were the only survivor. And why did I live? And why was it me? And everything, because you still have work to do. It wasn't your time. You still have something that you're supposed to do or be on this side of heaven. You are a blessing to somebody's life. You're supposed to be doing something. I don't know what that something is, but you know, because you dream about it. You think about it. Yes. Yeah. You're supposed to be doing something. I just don't believe God is a just because God. God does nothing just because. It is all lessons and blessings in the midst of the crazy. Understand the good, the bad, and the crazy. Guess what? It's all working together. Romans 8:28, that thing, honey. That's why I put it on a t-shirt, honey. I'm a Romans 8:28 kind of girl. Because the good, the bad, and the crazy, honey, it's all working together. Fantasia sings a song, honey. It's called It Is Necessary. I am who I am today because God used my mistakes. He worked them out for my good. Are you holding yourself hostage to some things that you've done in your past? Subconsciously, it's not a conscious thing that that you sit up like, oh, I'm not gonna get in a relationship anymore because I did this, or I'm not a good person. It's not conscious, but you date the same person over and over again. It's unworthy of your time. The subconscious is so strong that we don't even understand that it controls us. So what do we have to do, honey? We have to be very intentional about our walk while we're still on this side of heaven, because what we're doing every day is we're walking. We're all in the journey. We're all in the army, honey. We're all in the fight, right? And sometimes you might feel like you're losing. It might feel like that, but you're not. What can I learn from the mistakes that I've made in my life, and how can I be stronger from those things and pick it up and go further? Because that's what I'm supposed to do. As long as I'm on this side of heaven, I'm supposed to pick those things up. Up, come on, mistakes. Oh, yeah, I remember I did that before. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a hole right there. Let me jump instead of falling into the hole. Oh, yeah, yeah, that looked familiar. Oh, yeah, I recognize that person right there. Yeah, that's evil over there. Let me walk this way. Let me not entertain any foolishness. Right? You ever had some people in your life, honey? He's like, how and what? And I pray God send me discernment, honey. Send me, like, Lord, just let me, because I don't know what's going on with these people that eyes picking out. Look, eyes are picking out here. That's some country in your girl. Your girl is a little city and I'm a little country, honey. I was raised in Baltimore, Maryland, but my daddy is down here in Tyler, Texas, honey. And so you will hear it all come out. Just stay with me. A little city and a little country, honey. That's what your girl is. It's a little city, little B more, honey. 21215. And a little country, baby. It's a little country. So listen, that is why we are here, honey. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is Faith Walk. Like I said, my nephew passed last month. And for me, it is a very conscious decision. It's a very intentional, conscious decision that, you know what Lord can I do? What can I do to help the hopelessness in the world? Because I feel like there's an air of hopelessness. And what I realized, that's what the Lord gave me driving back from seeing my brother after my nephew passed away. I felt so helpless in the situation. Your girl is a fixer. I am a helper bee to the 10th power, honey. I will figure it out. I will get it done. That is what I do, honey. And I do it easily and I do it well. Okay, I figure it out. I get it done. I fix it. And in certain situations, right, we know in life, in certain situations, there's some things that come that you can't fix for people. And it is the people that we love that we want to fix those things for the most, right? And so being as though I couldn't fix this, all I could do is do what I know. When I can't do something, when I can't do it, I turn it over. Lord, what can I do? Help me process this thing. What am I supposed to be doing with this? Because for me, in any and everything that comes in my life, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what it is. When I meet somebody, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? Lord, use me. I prayed that. Lord, use me. How can I be of service? In the crazy, Lord, how can I be of service? What can I do? Right? That's what I prayed for years ago. And he's always used me in that way. So I'll get visions. I'll get dreams. I'll hear something. I'm like, okay, I saw hopelessness. Driving back from my brother, I saw hopelessness. And I thought, okay, there's an air of hopelessness out there. There are people suffering. There are people suffering in silence. There's some people that feel like there is no way I am ever going to be. There is no way this situation is ever going to be. Oh my gosh, I'm tired of this over and over and over again. When is it going to be over? There is an air of hopelessness out there. And I thought, Lord, okay, hopelessness. So what can I do about that? Like, that's huge. What can I do about that? And then I saw faith. Because I've had those feelings of hopelessness. I've had thoughts of suicide multiple times. Just as early as last June, I was in a place where I was like, oh, I'm tired. Yep. Everybody has these thoughts where, they may come and go, or sometimes people wallow in them things. You get stuck there and it lasts way longer than it should. And some people make it out of the darkness and some don't. And I can't sugarcoat that, right? But what I can do is for the people that are still on this side of heaven, that are having those feelings of hopelessness, Lord, what can I do? I can tell you that, honey, there's some things that are not tangible in this life. We want to touch everything. We want everything to be right now. We want it to be fixed. We're in a text message, instant gratification world. It's got to be over right now. We got to do it right now. When is it getting done? Right now. We got to microwave it. We don't appreciate the crock pot anymore. We don't want to put it in the oven, honey, even though we know it's better, even though we know it's good for us, even though we know it's a process. All them flavors and everything got to come together, and they come together just right, and then it's, we want to microwave it. We want a quick fix. Oh, faith, honey. Faith. That's that crock pot love, honey. That's that big mama, honey, Sunday morning, Sunday dinners love, honey. That's what faith is. The faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's not going to be right away sometime, but I know it's going to be good. I know it's coming. I know what's coming. It's going to be good. I know if I just let this process real good, if I just go through this process on the other side of that thing, that's what faith is, honey. And sometimes, you put stuff in the oven and you say it's supposed to take 2 hours, but you didn't put your oven on the right temperature, so it's going to take a little bit longer. How much longer is it going to take? I don't know. You just got to wait and see. Sometimes you just have to wait and see. We don't have a good answer as to when things are going to be over, right? But you just got to keep walking. And you just got to know. How do you know? Because this ain't the first thing that you've been through. You done got through some stuff before. How long did that take? But what that says to me is that you're a conqueror. Those negative things that you're saying to yourself, honey, they're not true. I'm a failure. I'm this. That negative self-talk, I ain't never going to be. Oh, I can't do that. How I'm going to start this business? How I'm going to go back to school? I can't afford. I can't do. I can't. Baby, you're a conqueror. You have gotten through worse. You've gotten through situations before. All that stuff that happened to you in your childhood, you still here. What does that say? It tells me you have strength. It tells me you are a soldier in this world, right? Yeah, boo. You're a conqueror. Pick that up. Look, put that on. Put that on. Yeah, that feel better. That feels better, honey. Yeah, put that on. You're a conqueror in this world. Breathe that in. Mm. Yeah, I have been through some stuff. Yeah, I've been through some stuff that was supposed to kill me. I've been through some stuff that killed some other people, and I'm still here. Yeah. Yeah, boo. Yes, honey. Yes, feel that thing. I need you to take that in. Take that in. Ooh. Yes. Let all that negative, get it out of you, honey. Get it out of you. It doesn't belong inside of you. It doesn't belong inside of you. We all fall short. There's not a person on this side of heaven, honey. Not a one. I mean, you can think of the perfect person that you think of as the most, like the greatest person ever. Like, oh, I don't care who it is. T.D. Jakes, your pastor, Oprah. Who is it? Not perfect. Made some mistakes. Not worthy. Everybody. Yeah, everybody. And most people that's making mistakes, those judgmental people that's probably out there judging you, that you so worried about what they saying about you, what they thinking. Guess what? They shit stink too. Okay. I'm just saying, in case you didn't know. They put their pants on just like you, honey. Nobody's better. Nobody. Nobody's perfect. Not a one. Just saying. Okay. All right, honey. Well, that is my pep talk for you for today, honey. I had to lift you up because I was feeling you like a little bit down. Had to lift you up, but come on up, honey. Come on up. Come on up out of that darkness, baby. You don't belong there. I say anytime that something happens, the crazy comes. I saw Latoya Jordan had on her thing this morning, honey. Anytime the crazy comes, baby, the storms are going to come. None of us are, unfortunately, none of us are not going to have some storm clouds in our lives, right? None of us are not going to endure some storms. We're all going to endure storm. That's scripture, right? We're all going to endure some storms, but you sprinkle a little faith on that thing. I don't know when this storm is going to be over, but I know it's going to be over. And what's on the other side of storms, honey? Sunshine, rain clouds, rainbows. I said rain clouds, I meant rainbows. Right? The grass needs the rain, the flowers, the animals, like everybody in it. It's all working together. Yeah. Shift how you're thinking about that thing, honey. And sometimes it's just like, oh man, it's not that simple. That's why you got to keep you some positive in your ear. You can't be walking around listening to all the sad songs. You can't be walking around here listening to all the sad songs, honey. You got to keep you some positive in your ear. You got to get you some positive songs. You got to get you some power. Honey, trouble don't last always. Hey. No, trouble don't last always. Trouble don't. Yes, I hear Miss Shirley singing. Trouble don't last always, honey. Trouble don't last always. I didn't know when I was 16 years old how powerful music was. For me, it's Friday. It's for the love of music Friday in the Divine Intervention family, honey. And on Fridays, just music, because music is so powerful. So I'm telling you to keep you some positive words, honey, in your ear. This morning when I rose, I didn't have no doubt. I didn't have no doubt. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what's going to happen, but I ain't have no doubt. I know the Lord will take care of me. I know the Lord. He'll provide for me, and I know he will. Lead and guide me all the way, honey. Sometimes you got to go back and grab some of your mom and them songs, baby, that you used to hear back in the day. You didn't really have a full understanding of all them words, but baby, ooh, they sit different now. Now you done had, look, life done been lifing. Mm-hmm. Like my girl Jamaica on Black Coffee on there, Grit say life has been lifing. Yeah. Yeah. Now them they have a different meaning. That's why faith became like my song, because I could hear Miss Shirley say, your faith is, choir say, faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. You better name it, claim it, believe it and receive it. Baby, you better get you some positive songs. You better get you some positive songs in your ear. That's all I'm saying, honey. You ain't got to be mine. I'm just saying. Whatever you need to do, honey. My brother has this song. His favorite song when he going through is, be more. We be, on that club. I'm gonna dance my pain away. I got a problem. Dance my pain away. Hey, oh. Oh, hey, oh, baby, YouTube that thing. I promise you, honey, your whole spirit about to get snatched. Your bottom gonna start just moving. I guarantee you, it's just gonna start. You're gonna start pumping. You can just gonna start pumping. Baby, get you some positive in your ear. You have to keep some positive in your ear because, honey, the devil is busy and he will be up here just like this. You trying to do something. I told you couldn't do that. See, you didn't work the first time. I told you. I don't even know why you're trying. All that negative. Pluck his ass off your ear. Pluck them off. Pluck them off your ear, boo. Pluck them off your ear and get your positive in there and do your little two-step, honey. Get your little two-step on. Get your little two-step on, okay? Yes, honey. When I get in the mood, I'd listen to my go-to recently. Well, I won't say, I guess for probably the past 3 years now, is I went into the space where I was thinking about my mom real heavy. And I had got to a point where I was just getting to a place of just appreciation of my mom, like getting to know her more in her journey and understanding her life and the things that she's been through and just the appreciation that I had, because when you're younger, you don't see, all the pain and all of the things that, your parents may have endured or gone through and all of this stuff. So I was just in this space. And when I was younger, I can remember driving to church and my mom always played, or I always remembered anyway, coming on the radio. That was 95.9, honey, 95.9 and Be More. It was the Clark sisters. The beat would come in. Doom, da, doom, da, doom, 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 da, doom, da, doom. Yes, honey. As soon as you heard that beat, honey, you knew. I was like, oh, the beat just be like, oh, doom, da, doom. You gave me peace. Hey, wait a minute. You gave me grace. What? Boom, 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 boom. You put a smile up on my face. Honey, when you don't have no smile on your face, you want that smile. You're like, wait a minute, let me listen to this song because I need some peace. I need some grace. I want a smile on my face too. Ooh, y'all. Y'all, I'm in Texas. We live. We live, y'all. Baby, I just looked right here on the side of me as a window. And I just looked. That wasn't nothing but the devil trying to steal my joy. That wasn't nothing but the devil trying to steal my joy, y'all. I looked over And there was a lizard. Ooh! Crawling on the side, and he was crawling on my screen. So I saw a shadow. I'm looking over, and all I see is lizard feet. Oh, as long as you outside, because this whole production would have been shut down. I would have been running. I don't do no creepy crawlies. I don't do no creepy crawlies. Okay. The devil is busy. Yeah, my skin started crawling. I was like, ah! Okay. I'm gonna come back. It was outside. Oh, I'm okay. Look, I'm okay. I'm okay. Baby. Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you, my heart was beating fast though. My heart was all I saw was feet and it was real fast. Oh my gosh. And then he crawled over the ledge. Okay. Okay. You brought the sunshine, honey. That's what it is. You brought the sunshine, baby. The Clark sisters. That's what you want in your life, honey. You brought the sunshine in my life. When you're going through some things, that's what you need is a little sunshine. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So this is day 19. This is day 19 of our faith walk. So like I said, every day since my nephew has passed, I was trying to think of what can I do? What can I say? How can I help? And I said, I can come on and I can talk about faith and I can talk about different things that has gotten me through and things that, and because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And that wasn't nothing but the Lord's timing. I thought, how can I tie that in? And I said, okay, well, I know I felt hopeless in my finances. I still feel at times hopeless in my finances. I feel like I should be more, in a, bigger or more stable place than what I am. And so that makes me feel some kind of way when my finances are not where they're supposed to be, when I can't do the things that I want to do. And it generally has to do with me not being able to do what I want to do for somebody else. Not even so much for myself, but I've included myself now in this as well. Like I can't do the things that I want to do for myself either. And so that makes me feel some kind of way. So what can I do? What can I talk about? Finances, relationships makes me feel some kind of way. You've been in a relationship where you thought things were going to work out. I had a situation, recently where I thought something was pretty good. I thought it was going to work out. It was great. It was like really nice, but it didn't work out. And it was just like, oh gosh, well, how long is it going to be? And I felt myself like, kind of like, oh, because I just opened myself up to love, right? I just did it. Look, y'all, I just did it. I just opened myself up to love. At a period of point of time, I was like, man, I'm not messing with that love stuff no more. I wasn't just going to do it. I just kind of closed off. I only allow people to come in a certain, look, this much. And that was it. And I very much had control over the situation. I was not comfortable at all. And I was just like, I'm not doing this love stuff anymore. But when I got very intentional about healing my life, about figuring out why I was making the decisions that I was making, why I was choosing the same people basically over and over again, who I am in this world, who do I want to be in this world, how do I want to show up, how do I want my significant other to show up instead of just taking kind of what was coming at me, and of course I'm picking, but still I wasn't being intentional about looking at that other person deeper, you know what I mean? On a deeper level. It was very surface because again, I only, was looking for certain things and that was it. And so for me, it was getting to a point where, no, actually I loves me some love. It's not that I don't love. I loves me some love, honey. I loves me a good love story. I'm up there watching, honey. I'm crying if it's good. Oh my goodness, if it's really good, yes, honey, I'm here for it all. I loves me some love. I loves me a good story. I love to watch the people, the weddings, and all of the stuff, and the husband and the wife are dancing. I'm like, that's gonna be me and my husband. we're gonna be dancing. I need somebody like that. I don't need nobody like, oh no, we not no, I don't know. He's not the one. I want somebody I want somebody out there that's not afraid of everybody looking at you, that's not afraid to act a fool on the dance floor, act a fool for me, to show that he loves me. Because I'm gonna do the same. I want to do the same for you. You know what I mean? So I want all of that. And there's certain people that I've picked in my life, but guess what? There's no way. They were too cool. They were too whatever. Like they're not about to be out there in them streets like that. I can't be showing up so and so's watching. They worried about what everybody gonna say or whatever. All right. You're not my person. You're not my person. Why am I allowing this person in my space? You know what I mean? So what do you want? What did I want? I've realized, all these things. And it's not even so much about having this grandiose list. You know what I mean? But I feel like there are some things where you need to know yourself enough to know what your deal breakers are. Some people are in situations where, they're putting up with things that they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? That you really shouldn't be. So for me, like I was in a situation where I had somebody, it was like a domestic violence situation. It was one time, but nevertheless, once was enough for me. And he came back to me and he said, well, I spoke to, this person, this other person, and they said, well, that was nothing because my ex used to do this, this, and this to me. So that ain't nothing. Well, good for her. For me, one time was enough. That the situation that happened was enough. I don't need nothing else to happen. I don't need nothing else to happen to me, nor do I need nothing else to happen with my girls. So guess what? Because for me, I'm always thinking my girls are watching me. My dad told me that a long time ago. He said when my my oldest daughter was a baby, she probably was about 3 at that time. And I had just put myself in just a simple, stupid car, just a simple situation. But nevertheless, he was like, where was Sean at? And I was like, oh, she was right there. And he was like, so she's watching you act a fool. He said she's watching everything that you're doing. And what you do, she's going to do. And I was like, she's a baby. They're soaking it all up. So again, it's like, what I tolerate and what standards I have for myself, I'm teaching my girls. I have a 13-year-old. I have the 28-year-old now, and then I have a 13-year-old. My daughter's about to be 14. This is the prime time. I remember watching my mom. Every relationship that she was in, I was like, okay, I'm taking little snippets from every relationship that she has. It's groomed me to what I want today. I don't want a man to talk to me like that. I want a man to treat me like he treated her. I want a man to dance with me. She had one husband. They danced. They went out. They did the things. They were really, close knit and did everything together. I mean, he cooked for her. It was beautiful. Right? But then he did some other things that I didn't like. So you know what? I want this part of a man. I want this part. And then I want something from that relationship. And I'm taking a tad bit from everything. I watched with my dad, with my stepdad that raised us. He was a great provider. My father is a great provider. I want that in my man. Right? I was in a relationship and the guy was asking me to marry him. I was like, yo, you're not ready. If you're not a provider, if you're not in this position to hold down the household, and for some people, that's not a big deal. For me, it is. It is. I used to be like back. Look, and don't even get it twisted. Like back in the day, I used to be where I'd be like, oh, he just have to have, and it only had to be, and blah, blah, blah. And at this point, no. I have certain things that I want to be able to do. I have places that I want to be able to go. I don't want to be the only one going. I don't want to be the only one paying to go. At one point in time, I thought that was like holding my man down. And so, babe, if I got it, you got it, we can go. But if I got it and I'm the only one that got it and you ain't never trying to get it, that's a different story. That's a different situation. I don't want that anymore. I had that. I know what that feels like. I don't want that. I don't want that. So it causes resentment. It causes the man to feel some kind of way because at the end of the day, no woman should be paying for a man to do XYZ anyway. Where did we go wrong with that, Lord? Look, where we get that from? Where we get that mentality? This is not okay. Not okay. At least in my house. If at your house, that's what you want it to be, that's cool. But at my house, it's not. And so that's why I am relationships. So situationships, I spent a long time on relationships and I'm feeling some kind of way about that. Situationships. I mean, I've been in situations. Have you been in situations? I've been in situations that I just probably shouldn't have been in. I've been in the fear. Yeah. Just some situations. And when it was over, when it wasn't over, when I was in it, through it, I'm like, why am I in this? Why am I in this situation? How'd I get myself in this situation? Lord have mercy. Girl, you need to get yourself up out of this situation. What is going on with this? Have y'all been in some situations with some people you shouldn't have been in situations with? I'm just saying. Situationships is what I call them. And then just some unforgiveness, the forgiveness and forgiving and holding, people hostage to things. And sometimes it's sometimes, it's some people out there that have done some things that they really ain't worthy of your forgiveness. They're not worthy. Right? They're not worthy of your forgiveness. But I know one thing about that is, when they say the forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. It sounds very cliche, right? But I only subscribe to that because in my research, I know that holding anger, right? Because that's what it is. It's just unbottled anger. Every time you see him, you be fine, and you see him, you be like, right? But that you cussing and fussing, you was having a great time, and then you see that person, and you hear something about him, you're like, whole all emotions change, right? You feeling some kind of way. Yes. It's happening in you. The emotions are happening in you. And what is that bottled up anger? It is literally developing cancer. Google it. Research it. You ain't got to take my word for it. Developing cancers. Yes, those negative emotions, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, is increasing your stress level. That is cortisol. Cortisol is the big C that causes cancer, the big C that causes heart attacks, the big C that causes high blood pressure. All of the things, honey. You killing yourself slowly, drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. And so again, it's some things that we just got to release because it is affecting our bodies in a way and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. And so that is why I have developed all of this, because it's just necessary, honey. It's necessary. I want to say the next month is Men's Month. I am inviting, I have a podcast as well. And so I have a podcast that out there where I'm just as relationships, it's reflections choosing me guilt-free. Reflections choosing me guilt-free. Why? Because as helper bees in the world, we're out here helping everybody else and we're not doing for ourselves and we're killing ourselves slowly. And so you are my audience, those people out there that are helping everybody else and not helping yourself. And so this platform is for you. And so I have a podcast. I started out with men. I've primarily worked with women from 27 and older because I feel like once you're 27, you've been through enough. I remember being 27. I'm like, yeah, it's about over. So 27 and older. And I have programs. I have, retreats that I'm working on right now. I have, a 7-day, a 10-week, and a 12-week program. These are, some programs are free and some programs are paid, but I'm very intentional about helping people to get to their next level, to identifying those things that are holding them subconscious. I had no idea that fear was holding me hostage. I had no idea. I had no idea that shame and guilt were holding me hostage. Those are all subconscious strongholds. You can only get so far. Why can I do this? Why procrastination? What is going on with this? I had no idea. And so again, in that faith walk, I believe if that our paths cross, that it is either for the purpose for me to help you, for you to help me, or for us to help each other get to our next level and our next realm where we're supposed to be in this world. And so next month is Men's Month, because we have to get to a point where we're building back the family. That's what my goal is to help our men. Our men are suffering at alarming rates, and especially African American men are suffering at alarming rates. Um, and at the end of the day, the men are our community. We can't build community without men. I know in this world we're talking about, women, 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 and there's so much out there for women. It is. But we got to reach back and grab these men, because I don't want to be in the world without men. I'm sorry. It's way more women in this world at this point now than there are men. And the men that are here, we need to take care of them. We need to love on them. But we need you guys to step up and want to be in a better place, because it's a choice at the end of the day. Just like me, I had to look in the mirror and get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so there are programs, there are people out there that's rooting for you. There are um, things out there that you can do to help get you to the next level. But it's about being intentional, right? And my job is to bring you those things, to give you that information. And so if you haven't right now, then subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have been doing this for a couple of years now. I'm very passionate about it. And so I had to recreate and rebrand, because I lost a lot of my information um, last year, but years, 4 or 5 years worth of information. And so I've had to start over. So what I could refurbish, I have, and then I'm just trailing along. What I know for sure is, again, anytime you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, anytime you're walking in purpose, the devil gets really busy. And so at one point I was very sad about losing all of my information, about losing all my interviews, about, losing some good content. But then I thought, I heard Denzel. It's tapping into that good, positive people in your ear, right? I heard Denzel say, what an opportunity we have. What an opportunity do I have? I had an opportunity to rebrand. I had an opportunity to start again. I had an opportunity to, you know, remix some of my older material that I was able to find and save, and then create new stuff and, let the Lord use me in this new way. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So I want to talk to you guys. It's 10:39. It's 11:39 on the East Coast. At 11:42, it is a new moon today. And I'm telling you, people like, oh my God, new moon. I thought she was a spiritual girl. I thought she was a Christian. First off, honey, don't try to put your girl in the box, because guess what? I ain't never going to fit there. Ain't never. Just like that. Yes, I ain't never going to fit there. I don't belong in nobody's box, honey. So I take it all in. I believe the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotions, they're all working together. And so any good information I can bring you, I'm going to bring it to you. So again, today is May the 19th, a new moon. They call it the Taurus Black Moon is in the horizons today. In 2 minutes, it is going to align with the sun. And it just means that it is aligning with the sun. But the new moons you want to pay attention to. I feel like something's sticking me, y'all. I don't know if it's the hair or what. The new the new moons, I ain't embarrassed about nothing. The new moons are a time for regeneration and manifestation. Yes, this is the time. Today is the day, baby. That is the news. This is the time, and today is the day for rejuvenation, for manifestation. And if you have a lack in your life, then this is the time to fill it through a new experience, a new person, or an item. We must make space for beginnings and foolish behaviors during new moons. I thought that was cute. Foolish behaviors. Mind you, we all are fools when beginning something new. So don't be scared to get experimental. What does that say to me? That says to me, if you have a business, if you have an idea, if you want to go back to school, whatever it is that you want to do, this is the time, honey. The stars are aligning. Everything is coming together for you to start, for you to do, for you to shine, for you to manifest, for you to write down that thing that you have been dreaming and thinking about for the longest. It's time for you to stop thinking about it, and it's time for you to do it, boo. It's time for you to do it. It says for newbies, a new moon is when the moon and the sun meet at the same degree. And it's 10:42 right now. So if you're outside, they say if you look up at the sun, then guess what? You won't be able to see it because it's invisible. The sun is blocking the moon. They're lining up right there together. They're right there together right now at 10:42, 11:42 somewhere on the East Coast. They are lining up together. The sun meet at the same degree, forming what astrologers call a conjunction. Yes, yes, honey. New moons are for setting intentions and goals to manifest. Take the theme of each new moon as inspiration, honey, to bring forth the best version of you. I love it. I love it. I had the new moon energy is amazing. And I only invited in because when I started learning about new moons, I was in a couple of fasting groups in different places where they talk about astrology and how the moons line up. Honey, understand that it's all working together. Oh my God, can you be a Christian and understand this stuff? The answer is yes, because I am. I'm a Christian woman. Honey, if you block yourself out or you just tunnel vision yourself into thinking one thing is the way, guess what? At one period of time, I thought just my mind, I thought my body was the only issue with weight. When it came to weight, Lord, if I just lose this weight, if I just go work out, then that's it. Guess what I understand now about weight instead of that tunnel vision view? That guess what? My mind, my body, my spirit, my emotions, my childhood trauma all plays a role in this weight that I'm carrying around in the belly. I call it the what's in the pit of your belly stuff. That's a whole nother story. But I'm just saying, stop, get out of that tunnel view thinking, honey. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I'm going to say it every day because it's so relevant. You've been thinking that way. Is it working for you? How far have you gotten? Have you gotten as far as you want to get? Maybe you step out the box and think about something different and holistic, honey. This is holistic healing over here. That's what I'm into. Holistic. I'm pulling from everywhere. I'm researching everything. I'm grabbing everything just so you don't have to do it. Guess what? It's all here. It's all in my 10-week program. It's all in my 12-week program. You know why? Because I went through it and I did it and it took me years. Years. And so I created a program that encompasses all of it so that it won't take you years. Yeah, it won't take you years. And so I'm very, very proud of that. I'm very, very proud of that. If you want more information about any of my programs, it's called Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free, the 7-day experience, the 10-week experience, and the 12-week experience, because it is an experience. Then please just schedule an appointment with me, honey. Check the link tree, schedule an appointment, and DM me, whatever it is. Just get in contact with me. But it would be best if you schedule an appointment or contact me and we can schedule an appointment together to get you where you need to be, honey, because them subconscious strongholds are real. This new moon energy that helps you to manifest and get you to the other place where you need to be is real. It's real. It's real. All right. So moving on. we have been reading Rich Dad Poor Dad because what I said, our finances affects our mental health, right? And so we've been reading the 25th year edition. Here's my camera. Mr. Robert Kawasaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And the lessons in here, y'all, have been amazing. And I'm going to tell you what, it is shifting my mindset um, to just think differently. Probably a month or 2 months ago, before I started reading this book, I would have told you my next biggest goal was to buy a home. But at this point, it's just not. Just from what I understand for liabilities and assets, doesn't mean I'm never going to own a home. No, I'm definitely going to own a home. One day I'm going to own several. But I said manifesting. Yes, I'm going to own several. But the way that I was going to go about owning a home and when I feel like I needed to do it has changed and has shifted. Because what he says in here is that the rich think of assets and liabilities different from the middle class. An asset, he says, is anything that is bringing money in. An asset is anything, any means that is bringing money in, whereas a liability is anything that is taking money out. Very simple. His rich dad was teaching them this at 9 years old. So he had to come up with a simple way to explain it to these babies. And so he said, this is just as plain and simple as this is. An asset is anything bringing money in. A liability is anything taking money out. And so buying a home, what? It's taking money out. It's a liability. But the middle class look at a home as an asset. And it is in some ways, and he's not saying, but it was the way that we think about it, the way that middle class people process it. We process it, this is the only way. We're working our 9 to 5 to pay our mortgage. Instead of using our gifts, right? Producing passive income. Passive meaning something that you don't have to tangibly go. I don't have to get up and clock in. I don't have to be there. It's automatically generating as I'm home sleeping. I'm on vacation with my family. Money is still coming in. We're not thinking about our money like that. We're not thinking about things like that. We're not thinking about passive income, creating these passive incomes so that we can go and purchase a home, purchase land to sell to a bigger corporation or to sell to, whoever. You know what I mean? With only thinking about it one way, let me just buy my house and that's it and I'm done. We're not thinking about, just stepping outside your comfort zone and doing something different. Thinking about it in a different way. How can I use that loan? How can I use this house? How can I use this land? Right? Could you get an Airbnb? Could you purchase land or a home in, some specific county or city or whatever and use it as an Airbnb? That's what the big dogs are doing. Why couldn't you? You know what I mean? It is, we don't even think. I shared the story where I sat in this conference and I was surrounded by amazing nurses that were doctors, nurses that were millionaires, self-made millionaires, nurses that were just thinking on this other level. Like I thought nursing was, you work as a floor nurse. When I became a nurse 22 years ago, I thought being a nurse was, you work on the floor, you work there, you find your good job and you work there until you retire and that's it. Well, 7 years in, I was burnt out from the unit, from just all of the stuff the nurses know that comes with the unit, the lack of staffing, the lack of compassion, the lack of, just all of the things that come along with it. And so what now? Are you in that situation where you're thinking, what now? Are you going to clock in and go into work every day for 40 years? My little Social Security says I have to work until I'm 72. I'm 46. I have to work until I'm 72, and that's to get a part of the money. It goes up, up, up further. Like if I work to 74, if I work to 76, and it gives you more and more and more. So I got to be about half about to die before I can get all of the Social Security that I've worked for my whole life. Okay. It's got to be a better way. That's all I'm saying. So Rich Dad chapter 1 was the rich don't work for money. Honey, go back and watch it. Do yourself a favor, honey. They're all recorded. They're all there. There is a study session after each one. Rich Dad, I'm sorry, I'm digging. I'm like, I got this thing sticking me on the side. Chapter 2 is why teach financial literacy. Again, we're not taught these things. For me, it is everybody don't want to play the game. Some people are content where they are, and that's fine. I'm not talking to you today. Who I'm talking to are the people that are not content. People like me, they're like, what? It's a game over there. I like playing the game too. Can I play the game? Can I get the rules of the game? Because we're not giving the rules. Not only are we not giving the rules of the game, we don't even know it's a game being played. It's like it's invisible over there, like it's an invisible layer over there. With a whole bunch of fun stuff happening back there behind the invisible layer. I want to go behind the invisible layer. I like to have fun too. Why teach financial literacy? Number 3, chapter 3, lesson 3 is mind your own business. Again, what business do you have inside of you, or what can you create, or what can you do to create passive income? The whole goal is not to create, and I mean, some people do have businesses where, you have gifted hands, where, you have all that, but, and that's great. I want you to do that as well. But I also want you to be thinking about what things outside of that can you do? What can you build when you build your business? How can you take funds from that money and invest it into something where it creates you a passive income, so you can work your business if you want to and when you want to. That's the goal. Mind your own business. Meaning, why are you going here slaving, working for a corporation, some crazy whatever, that when you kill over, guess what they're going to do? They're going to step over and they're going to fire somebody else to do your job and on about their business. Mind your own business. Build your own company for your children's children. Build generational wealth. My definition of generational wealth is an abundance of love, peace, joy, happiness, right? Love, peace, joy, happiness, faith, and understanding. That's generational wealth to me. You can't buy it. But when you minding your own business, the freedom that comes in that, it leads you to generational wealth, honey. It leads you to generational wealth. Number 4, chapter 4, lesson 4 was the history of taxes and the power of corporations. Why? Because he was saying this is the biggest secret that the wealth has. When you think of corporations, what do you think of? When I said corporations, what are you thinking of? What's the first thing that popped in your mind? First thing that popped in mind was McDonald's, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, like these big corporations, right? These big companies. You know what he said the biggest myth is? It does not have to be anybody else on the team. You can what? Have an S Corp, have a C Corp, corporation. Yes. Is your LLC good? It is. It is. But it doesn't come with those good tax deductions and ways to finagle and do different things and to navigate the way that the rich navigates, and they navigate through their corporations. Why? Because there's tax codes and there are tax dollars, and there's ways to invest in yourself and your business without paying more or giving more or paying out these taxes. You can pre-tax and pay stuff and get things for your business and get things for your home. That is how the rich do it. That is why when you look at, why a certain president didn't have to have, only paid this low amount of tax dollars, and it's all legal. Again, knowing the rules to the game, guys. Today we are starting on chapter 5. Chapter 5, lesson 5 is the rich invent money. The rich invent money. Every chapter is just getting more and more interesting. More and more interesting, honey. I'm grateful for Mr. Robert Kawasaki in this book. The rich invent money. It says often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. Last night, I took a break from writing and watched a TV program on the history of a young man named Alexander Graham Bell. Bell had just patented his telephone and was having growing pains because the demand for his new invention was so strong. Needing a bigger company, he then went to the giant at that time, Western Union, and asked them if they would buy his patent in his tiny company. He wanted $100,000 for the whole package. The president of Western Union scoffed at him and turned him down, saying the price was ridiculous. The rest is history. A multi-billion-dollar industry emerged and AT&T was born. The evening news came on right after the story of Alexander Graham Bell. On the news was a story of another downsizing at a local company. The workers were angry and complained that the company ownership was unfair. A terminated manager of about 45 years of age and his wife and 2 babies at the plant and was begging the guards to let him talk to the owners to ask if they would reconsider his termination. He had just bought a house and was afraid of losing it. The camera focused in on his pleading for all the world to see. Needless to say, it held my attention. I had been teaching professionally since 1984. It has been a great experience and a rewarding one. Sorry, nosy. It is also a disturbing profession, for I have taught thousands of individuals, and I see one thing in common in all of us, myself included. We all have tremendous potential, and we all are blessed with gifts. Yet, the one thing that holds us all back is some degree of self-doubt. It is not so much the lack of technical information that holds us back, but more the lack of self-confidence. Some are more affected than others. Once we leave school, most of us know that it is not so much a matter of college degrees or good grades that count. In the real world outside of academics, something more than just grades is required. I have heard it called many things: guts, balls, audacity, bravado, cunning, daring, tenacity, and brilliance. This factor, whatever it is labeled, ultimately decides one's future much more than school grades do. My child is dyslexic. I'm like, I'm adding words, taking words away. I'm like, did she get it from her father? Did she get it from me? Okay. Inside each of us is one of these brave, brilliant, and daring characters. There is also the flip side of that character: people who could get down on their knees and beg if necessary. After a year in Vietnam as a Marine Corps pilot, I got to know both of those characters inside of me intimately. One is not better than the other. Yet, as a teacher, I'm feeling dry, y'all. As a teacher, I recognize that it was excessive fear and self-doubt that were the greatest detractors of personal genius. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm feeling a little dry. Give me 1 second. We live. Look, we live. I need a I had my cocoa butter stick, y'all, outside, and I'm in Texas, y'all. I left my cocoa butter stick outside. What happened? It melted. Straight liquid in the car. Straight liquid. It broke my heart. It says, yet as a teacher, let me go back. Yet as a teacher, I recognized that it was excessive fear and self-doubt that were the greatest distractors of personal genius. It broke my heart to see students know the answer, yet lack the courage to act on the answer. Often, the real world is not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. In my personal experience, your financial geniuses requires both technical knowledge as well as courage. If fear is too strong, the genius is suppressed. In my classes, I strongly urge students to learn to take risks, to be bold, and to let their genius convert into fear, into power and brilliance. It worked for some and just terrifies others. I have come to realize that for most people, when it comes to the subject of money, they would rather play it safe. I have had to feel questions such as, why take risk? Why should I bother developing my financial IQ? Why should I become financially literate? And I answer, just to have more options. There are huge changes ahead. In the coming years, there will be more people just like the young inventor Alexander Graham Bell. There will be 100 people like Bill Gates in hugely successful companies like Microsoft, created every year, all over the world. And there also will be many bankruptcies, layoffs, and downsizes. Some people developing your financial IQ, excuse me. So why bother developing your financial IQ? No one can answer that but you. Yet I can tell you why I myself do it. I do it because it is the most exciting time to be alive. I'd rather be welcoming change than dreading change. I'd rather be excited about making millions than worrying about not getting a raise. This period we are now in is a most exciting time, unprecedented in our world's history. Generations from now, people will look back at this period of time and remark at what an exciting era it must have been. It was the death of the old and birth of the new. It was full of turmoil and it was exciting. So why bother developing your financial IQ? Because if you do, you will prosper greatly. And if you don't, this period of time will be a frightening one. It will be a time of watching some people move boldly forward while others cling to worn out life preservers. Land was wealth 300 years ago. So the people who owned the land owned the wealth. Later, wealth was in factories and in productions, and America rose to dominance. Later, wealth was in factories, excuse me. Later, wealth was in factories and production, and America rose to dominance. The industrialists owned the wealth. Today, wealth is in information, and the person who has the most timely information owns the wealth. The problem is that information flies around the world at the speed of light. New wealth cannot be contained by boundaries and borders as land and factories were. The changes will be faster and more dramatic. There will be a dramatic increase in the number of new multimillionaires. There also will be those who are left behind. I find so many people struggling today, often working harder simply because they cling to old ideas. They want things to be the way they were, and they resist change. I know people who are losing their jobs or their hours. I know people are losing their jobs or their houses, and they blame technology or the economy or their boss. Sadly, they fail to realize that they might be the problem. Old ideas are their biggest liability. It is a liability simply because they fail to realize that while that idea or way of doing something was an asset yesterday, yesterday is gone. One afternoon, I was teaching how to invest using a board game. I had invited cash flow as a teaching tool. A friend had brought someone along to attend the class. This friend of a friend was recently divorced, had been badly burned in the divorce settlement, and was now searching for some answers. Her friend thought the class might help. The game was designed to help people learn how money works. In playing the game, they learned about the interaction of the income statement with the balance sheet. They learned how cash flows between the two and how the road to wealth is through striving to increase your monthly cash flow from the asset column to the point that it exceeds your monthly expenses. Once you accomplish this, you are able to get out of the rat race and out onto the fast track. As I have said, some people hate the game, some love it, and others miss the point. This woman missed a valuable opportunity to learn something. In the opening round, she drew a doodad, a doodad card with a boat on it. At first, she was happy. Oh, I've got a boat. Then, as her friend tried to explain how the numbers worked on her income statement and balance sheet, she got frustrated because she had never liked math. The rest of her table waited while her friend continued explaining the relationship between the income statement, balance sheet, and monthly cash flow. Suddenly, she realized how the numbers worked. It dawned on her that the boat was eating her alive. Later on in the game, she was also downsized and had a child. It was a horrible game for her. Have y'all ever done that? Have you ever bought something, you were so excited to have it, and then you got it, and then the monthly payments came, and you're like, oh my God, how in the world am I going to pay for this every month? Jesus be offense. Guilty. After the class, her friend came by and told me that she was upset. She had come to the class to learn about investing and did not like the idea that it took too long to play a silly game. Her friend attempted to tell her to look within herself to see if the game reflected her in any way. With that suggestion, the woman demanded her money back. She said the very idea that a game could be a reflection of her was ridiculous. Her money was promptly refunded and she left. Since 1984, I have made millions simply by doing what the school system does not do. In school, most teachers lecture. I hated lectures as a student. I was soon bored, and my mind would drift off. In 1984, I began teaching via games and simulations, and I still rely on these tools today. I always encourage adult students to learn at games at reflecting back to them what they know and what they need to learn. Most importantly, games reflect behavior. They are instant feedback systems. Instead of teachers lecturing you, the game is giving you a personalized lecture, one that is custom made just for you. The friend of the woman who left later called to give me an update. She said her friend was fine and had calmed down. In her cooling off period, she could see some slight relationships between the game and her life. Although she and her husband did not own a boat, they did own everything else imaginable. She was angry after their divorce, both because he had run off with a younger woman and because after 20 years of marriage, they had accumulated little in the way of assets. There was virtually nothing for them to split. Their 20 years of married life had been incredibly fun, but all they had accumulated was a ton of doodads. She realized that her anger at doing the numbers, the income statement, and the balance sheet came from her embarrassment about not understanding them. She had believed that finances were the man's job. She maintained the house and did the entertaining, and he handled the finances. She was not quite certain that in the last 5 years of their marriage, he had hidden money from her. She was angry at herself for not being more aware of where the money was going, as well as for not knowing about the other woman. Just like a board game, the world is always providing us with instant feedback. We could learn a lot if we tuned in more. One day, not long ago, I complained to Kim that the cleaners must have shrunk my pants. Kim gently smiled and poked me in the belly to inform me that the pants had not shrunk. Something else had expanded. Me. The cash flow game was designed to give every player personal feedback. Its purpose is to give you options. If you draw the boat card and it puts you into debt, the question is, now what are you going to do? Excuse me. Now what can you do? I just be adding words. How many different financial options can you come up with? That is the purpose of the game, to teach players to think and create new and various financial options. Thousands of people throughout the world have played this game. The players who get out of the rat race and the quickest are the people who understand numbers and have creative financial minds. They recognize the different financial options. Rich people are often creative and take calculated risk. People who take the longest are people who are not familiar with the numbers and often do not understand the power of investing. Some people play cash flow. Some people playing cash flow accumulate lots of money in the game, but they don't know what to do with it. Even though they have money, everyone else seems to be getting ahead of them, and that is true in life. There are a lot of people who have a lot of money and do not get ahead financially. Limiting your options is the same as hanging on to old ideas. I have a friend from high school who now works at 3 jobs. Years ago, he was the richest of all my classmates. When the local sugar plantation closed, the company he worked for went down with the plantation. In his mind, he had but one option, and that was an old option: work hard. The problem was that he couldn't find an equivalent job that recognized his seniority from the old company. As a result, he is overqualified for the jobs he currently has, so his salary is lower. He now works 3 jobs to earn enough to survive. I have watched people playing cash flow complain that the right opportunity cards are not coming their way, so they sit there. I know people who do that in real life. They wait for the right opportunity. I have watched people get the right opportunity card and then not have enough money. Then they complain that they would have gotten out of the rat race if they had more money. So they sit there. I know people in real life who do this, do that also. They see all the great deals, but they have no money. That sounds like me. And I have seen people pull a great opportunity card, read it out loud, and have no idea that this is a great opportunity. They have the money, the time is right, they have the card, but they can't see the opportunity staring them in the face. They fail to see how it fits in their financial plans for escaping the rat race. And I know more people like that than all the others combined. Most people have an opportunity of a lifetime flash right in front of them, and they fail to see it. A year later, they found out about it after everyone else got rich. I know people like that too. That kind of reminds me of my dad. He has to think about stuff for a long period of time. I'm like, and some people just that's fear. I feel like that's fear. You allowing fear to, lead your life instead of you got to jump. Sometimes you got to jump. Financial intelligence is simply having more options. If the opportunities aren't coming your way, what else can you do to improve your financial position? If an opportunity lands in your lap and you have no money and the bank won't talk to you, what else can you do to get the opportunity to work in your favor? If your hunch is wrong and what you've been counting on doesn't happen, how can you turn a lemon into millions? That is financial intelligence. It is not so much what happens, but how many different financial solutions can you think of to turn a lemon into millions? It is how creative you are in solving problems. Many people who only know one solution work hard, save, and borrow. So, why would you want to increase your financial intelligence? Because you want to be the kind of person who creates your own luck. You take whatever happens and make it better. Free people realize that luck is created just as money is. And if you want to be luckier and create money instead of working hard, then your financial intelligence is important. If you are the kind of person who is waiting for the right thing to happen, you might wait for a long time. It's like waiting for all the traffic lights to be green for 5 miles before you start your trip. As young boys, Mike and I were constantly told by Rich Dad that money is not real. Rich Dad occasionally reminded us of how close we came to the secret of money on that first day we got together and began making money out of plaster of Paris. The poor and middle class work for money, he said. The rich make money. The more real you think money is, the harder you will work for it. If you can grasp the idea that money is not real, you will grow richer faster. What is it? Was a question Mike and I often came back with. What is money if it is not real? What we agree it is, was all Rich Dad would say. The single most powerful asset we all have is our minds. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth seemingly instantaneously. An untrained mind can also create extreme poverty that can crush a family for generations. In the information age, money is increasing exponentially. A few individuals are getting ridiculously rich from nothing, just ideas and agreements. If you ask many people who trade stocks or other investments for a living, they see it done all the time. Often millions can be made instantaneously from nothing. And by nothing, I mean no money was exchanged. It is done via agreement. I had signal in a trading pit, a blip on a trader screen in Lisbon from a trader screen in Toronto, and a back to Lisbon, a call to my broker to buy and a moment later to sell. Money did not change hands. Agreements did. So why develop your financial genius? Only you can answer that. I can tell you why I have been developing this area of my intelligence. I do it because I want to make money fast. Not because I need to, but because I want to. It is a fascinating learning process. I developed my financial IQ because I want to participate in the fastest game and the biggest game in the world. And in my own small way, I would like to be part of this unprecedented evolution of humanity. The era where humans work purely with their minds and not with their bodies. Besides, it is where the action is. It is what is happening. It's hip, it's scary, and it's fun. That is why I invest my financial intelligence, developing the most powerful asset I have. I want to be with people moving boldly forward. I do not want to be with those left behind. I will give you a simple example of creating money. In the early 1990s, the economy of Phoenix, Arizona was horrible. I was watching a TV show when a financial planner came on and began forecasting doom and gloom. His advice was to save money, put $100 away every month. He said, in 40 years, you will be a multimillionaire. Well, putting money away every month is a sound idea. It is one option, the option most people subscribe to. The problem is this: it blinds the person to what is really going on. It causes them to miss major opportunities for much more significant growth of their money. The world is passing them by. As I said, the economy was terrible at that time. For investors, this is a perfect market condition. A chunk of my money was in the stock market and in the apartment houses. I was short of cash. Because people were giving properties away, I was buying. I was not saving money. I was investing. Kim and I had more than $1 million in cash working in a market that was rising fast. It was the best opportunity to invest. The economy was terrible. I just could not pass up the small deals. Houses that were once $100,000 were now $75,000. But instead of shopping with local real estate agents, I began shopping at the bankruptcy's attorney's office or the courthouse steps. In these shopping places, a $75,000 house could sometimes be bought for $20,000 or less. For $2,000, which was loaned to me from a friend for 90 days, for $200. I gave an attorney a cashier's check as a down payment. While the acquisition was being processed, I ran an ad advertising a $75,000 house for only $60,000 and no money down. The phone rang hard and heavy. Prospective buyers were screened, and once the property was legally mine, all the prospective buyers were allowed to look at the house. It was a feeding frenzy. The house sold in a few minutes. I asked for a $2,500 processing fee, which they gladly handed over. In the escrow, the title company took over from there. I returned the $2,000 to my friend with an additional $200. He was happy. The home buyer was happy. The attorney was happy. I was happy. I had sold a house for $60,000 that cost me $20,000. The $40,000 was created from money in my asset column in the form of a promissory note from the buyer. Total working time, 5 hours. So now that you are on your way to becoming more financial literate and skilled at reading numbers, I will show you why this is an example of money being invented. During the depressed market, Kim and I were able to do 6 of these simple transactions in our spare time. While the bulk of our money was in larger properties in the stock market, we were able to create more than $190,000 in assets, notes at 10% interest in those 6 buys, create and sell transactions. That came to approximately a $1,900 a year income. Oh, my back is itching. Wait a minute. My back is itching, y'all. I think it's the hair. Wait a minute. Ooh, we're live. I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm sorry. I need a back scratcher. Molly got one somewhere. Okay. This is so good. That comes to approximately $1,900 a year in income, much of it sheltered through our private corporation. Much of that $1,900 a year goes to pay for our company, cars, gas, travel, insurance, dinners with clients, and other things. By the time the government gets a chance to tax that income, it's been spent on legally allowed pre-tax expenses. This was a simple example of how money is invented, created, and protected using financial intelligence. Ask yourself, how long would it take to save $190,000? Would the bank pay you 10% interest on your money? And the promissory note is good for 30 days. I hope they never pay me the $190,000. I have to pay a tax if they pay me the principal. And besides, $1,900 paid over 30 years is a little over $500,000 in income. I have people ask what happens if the person doesn't pay. That does happen, and it's good news. That $60,000 home could be taken back and resold for $70,000 and another $2,500 collected as a loan processing fee. It would still be a zero down transaction in the mind of the new buyer, and the process will go on. The first time I sold the house, I paid back the $2,000, so technically I have no money in the transaction. My return to investment is infinite. It's an example of no money making a lot of money. In the second transaction, when we resold, I would have put $2,000 in my pocket and re-extended the loan for 30 years. What would my return on investment be if I got paid money to make money? I do not know, but it sure beats saving $100 a month, which actually starts out as $150 because it's after tax income for 40 years, earning low interest. And again, you're taxed on the interest. That is not too intelligent. It may be safe, but it's not smart. How many of us have done that? How many of us have had like, I'm gonna put this $100 to the side. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put this. We do that. That's a middle class mentality. It's so easy. It is think differently. How can I process this differently outside the box? Are you mean to tell me everything that I've learned and what I've been learning since I was little is wrong? It's not wrong, honey. You can continue to keep your $100 to the side, or you can jump and invest. That's what he's telling you. We're scared to invest. We don't know nothing about investing. We don't want to have nothing to do with investing. Oh no, that's a white people thing. We ain't doing that. Again, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Honey, sometimes you got to do something different. Are you saving? Because I know me when I'm trying to save. I will save for a long time. I've saved probably, I guess, a little bit under $30,000 in the bank. Is all that I've ever, quote unquote, had saved. That's as much as I've ever had saved at one time, and had some trust and had some stocks or whatever. But times got hard, and guess what? Cashed them blickies in. Right quick, right? Right quick, cashed them in. And so, but what else different can you do? Because what can you do when you done drained out your savings? You don't even have a savings to start with. This what he's talking about. It's like they don't need money, or the money that they're using it so wisely that it's coming back and it's bringing them more money. That is the purpose of the investment. He says a few years later, as the Phoenix real estate market strengthened, those houses we sold for $60,000 became worth $110,000. Foreclosure opportunities were still available but became rare. It cost a valuable asset, my time, to go out looking for them. Thousands of buyers were looking for a few available deals. The market had changed. It was time to move on and look for other opportunities to put in the asset column. You can't stay there. We get so comfortable just doing the same thing over and over and over again. He just said you can't do that. Look, I ain't even read that next line. He said you can't do that. That is against the law. You're lying. I hear those comments much more often than not. Can you show me how to do that? The math is simple. You do not need algebra or calculus. Add the escrow company handles the legal transactions and the servicing of the payments. I just feel like something is taking me. I'm sorry. We alive, y'all. I feel like all these things are happening. Lord have mercy. Uh, I have no roofs to fix or toilets to unplug because the owners do that. It's their house. Occasionally, someone does not pay, and that is wonderful because there are late fees, or they move out and the property is sold again. The court system handles that, and it may not work in your area. The market conditions may be different, but the example illustrates how a simple financial process can create hundreds of thousands of dollars with little money and low risk. It is an example of money being only an agreement. Anyone with a high school education can do it. Yet most people won't. Most people listen to the standard advice of work hard and save money. For about 30 hours of week of work, approximately $190,000 was created in the asset column. No taxes were paid. It said, which one sounds harder for you? Number one, work hard, pay 50% in taxes, save what is left, your savings, then earn 5%, which is also tax. Or number two, take the time to develop your financial intelligence, harness the power of your brain and the asset column. If you used option number one, be sure to factor in how much time it takes you to save the 190,000. Time is one of your greatest assets. Now, you may understand why I silently shook my head when I hear parents say, my child is doing well in school and receiving a good education. It may be good, but is it accurate? But is it adequate? I know the above investment strategy is a small one. It is used to illustrate how small can grow into big. Again, my success reflects the importance of a strong financial foundation, which starts with a strong financial education. I have said it before, but it's worth repeating. Financial intelligence is made up of these four technical skills. One is accounting. Accounting is financial literacy or the ability to read numbers. This is a vital skill if you want to build businesses or investments. Number two, investing. Investing is the science of making money. Number three, understanding markets. Understanding markets is the science of supply and demand. Alexander Graham Bell gave the market what it wanted, so did Bill Gates. A $75,000 house offered for $60,000 that cost $20,000 was also the result of seizing an opportunity created by the market. Somebody was buying and somebody was selling. Number four is the law. The law is the awareness of accounting, corporate, state, and federal regulations. I recommend playing by the rules. It is this basic foundation or a combination of these skills that is needed to be successful in the pursuit of wealth, whether it be through the business of small business, small homes, apartment buildings, companies, stocks, bonds, precious metals, baseball cards, or the like. A few years later, the real estate market rebounded, and everyone else was getting in. The stock market was booming, and everyone was getting in. The US economy was back on its feet. I began selling and was now traveling to Peru, Norway, Malaysia, and the Philippines. The investment landscape had changed. We were no longer buying real estate. Now I just watch the values climb inside the asset column and will probably begin selling. I suspect that some of those 6 little house deals will sell and the $40,000 note will be converted to cash. I need to call my accountant to be prepared for cash and seek ways to shelter it. The point I would like to make is that investments come and go. The markets goes up and down. That was my thing with the markets going up and down and not understanding, what exactly that meant and being afraid of the quote unquote crash and people losing everything. You hear about people investing in the stock market, losing everything. Excuse me, they put everything into their into one basket, put all the eggs in one basket. That's why it's important to have a diverse portfolio, to have a diverse financial portfolio, because if you have all your eggs in the stock market and the stock market crash, there's everything. But if you're investing in houses, if you're investing in land, if you're investing in some passive income properties, if you're investing in a business over here, you know what I mean, you have some stocks over here, some bonds over here, some different things going on, and that all as a collective is contributing to your financial picture as a whole, then that is a difference. I'm not sure why I feel like something is sticking me because nothing is there. I'm sorry. I don't have no camera production. They're not here. They're at Tabitha Brown's house. They're not here. Okay, the point I would like to make is that investments come and go. The market comes and goes. The market goes up and down. Economies improve and crash. The world is always handling. Oh gosh, I really feel like something is sticking me. Why does it feel like something's sticking me? I don't know. I'm sorry. The world is always handling your opportunities of a lifetime every day of your life, but all too often we fail to see them. But they are there. And the more the world changes, the more technology changes, the more opportunities there will be to allow you and your family to be financially secure for generations to come. So why bother developing your financial intelligence? Again, only you can answer that. I know why I continue to learn and develop. I do it because I know there were changes coming. I'd rather welcome change than cling to the past. I know there will be market booms and market crashes. I want to continually develop my financial intelligence because at each market change, some people will be on their knees begging for their jobs. Others, meanwhile, will take the lemons that life have made them, and we are all handed lemons occasionally and turn them into millions. That's financial intelligence. I thought he was going to say and make lemonade. I'm often asked about lemons I have turned into millions. I hesitate using more examples of personal investments because I'm afraid to come across as bragging or tooting my own horn. This is not my intention. I use the examples only as numerical and chronological illustrations of actual and simple cases. I use the examples because I want you to know that it is easy. And the more familiar you become with the 4 pillars of financial intelligence, the easier it becomes. Personally, I use 2 main vehicles to achieve financial growth: real estate and small cap stocks. I use real estate as my foundation. Day in and day out, my properties provide cash flow and occasional spurts of growth and value. The small cap stocks are used for fast growth. I do not recommend anything that I do. The examples are just that, examples. How many he's saying what works for me may not work for you. He don't want you coming back blaming, talking about, it didn't work. I tried this, blah, 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 blah. What works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. It is navigating and finding your own path, right? So if the opportunity is too complex and I do not understand the investment, I don't do it. Simple math and common sense are all you need to do well financially. There are 5 reasons for using examples. 1 is to inspire people to learn more. 2 is to let people know it is easy if the foundation is strong. Number 3 is to show that another one can achieve great wealth. Number 4 is to show that there are millions of ways to achieve your goals. Number 5 is to show that it's not rocket science. In 1989, I used to jog through a lovely neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. It was a suburb that had little gingerbread houses. They were small and cute. I almost expected to see Little Red Riding Hood skipping down the street on her way to Grandma's house. There were 4 sale signs available. 4 sale signs everywhere. The timber market was terrible. The stock market had just crashed. The economy was depressed. On one street, I noticed a for sale sign that was up longer than most. It looked old. Jogging past it one day, I ran into the owner who looked troubled. "What are you asking for your house?" I asked. The owner turned and smiled weakly. "Make me an offer." He said, "It's been for sale for over a year. Nobody even comes by anymore to look at it." "I'll look," I said. I bought the house a half an hour later for $20,000 less than his asking price. It was a cute little 2-bedroom home with gingerbread trim on all windows. It was light blue and gray accents and had been built in 1930. Inside, there were a beautiful rock fireplace as well as 2 tiny bedrooms. It was a perfect rental house. We gave the owner $5,000 down for a $45,000 house that was really worth $65,000, except that no one wanted to buy it. The owner moved out in a week. Happy to be free, my first tenant moved in, a local college professor. After the mortgage expense and management fee were paid, we put a little less than $40 in our pocket at the end of each month. Hardly exciting. A year later, the depressed Oregon real estate market had begun to pick up. California investors flushed with money from their still booming real estate market were booming north and buying up Oregon and Washington. We sold that little house for $95,000 to a young couple from Carolina who thought from California who thought it was a bargain. Our capital gains of approximately $40,000 were placed into a 1031 tax deferred exchange, and I went shopping for a place to put my money. In about a month, we found a 12-unit apartment house right next to the Intel plant in Beaverton, Oregon. The owners lived in Germany, had no idea what the place was worth, and again just wanted to get out. I offered $275,000 for a $450,000 building. They agreed to the $300,000. I bought it and held it for 2 years. Utilizing the same 1031 exchange process, we sold the building for $495,000 and bought a 30-unit apartment building in Phoenix, Arizona. Kim and I had moved to Phoenix by then and to get out of the rain and needed to sell anyway. Like the former Oregon market, the real estate market in Phoenix was depressed. The price of the 30-unit apartment building in Phoenix was $875,000 with $225,000 down. The cash flow from the 30 units was a little over $5,000 a month. The Arizona market began moving up, and a few years later, a Colorado investor offered us $1.2 million for the property. The point of this example is how a small amount can grow into a large amount. Again, it is a matter of understanding financial statements, investment strategies, a sense of the market, and the laws. If people are not versed in these subjects, they must follow standard dogma, which is to play it safe, diversify, and only invest in secure investments. The problem with secure investments is that they are often sanitized, that is, made so safe that the gains are less. Most large brokerage houses will not, I feel like something's in my eye, y'all. Most large brokerage houses will not touch speculative transactions in order to protect themselves and their clients. And that is wise policy. The really hot deals are not offered to people who are novice. Often the best deals that make the rich even richer are reserved for those who understand the game. It is technology illegal to offer speculative deals to someone who is considered not sophisticated. But of course, it happens. The more sophisticated I get, the more opportunities come my way. Another case for developing your financial intelligence over a lifetime is simply that more opportunities are presented to you. And the greater your financial intelligence, the easier it is to tell whether a deal is good. It's your intelligence that can spot a bad deal or make more money. We make simply because we gain experience and wisdom as the years go on. We have friends who are playing it safe, working hard for their profession, and failing to gain financial wisdom, which does take time to develop. The overall philosophy is to plant seeds instead of asset columns. This is my formula. We start small, plant seeds. Some grow, some don't. Inside our real estate corporation, we have properties worth several $1,000,000. It is our own RET, our real estate investment trust. The point I'm making is that most of these millionaires started out as little as $5,000 to $10,000 investments. All of these down payments were fortunate to catch a fast rising market and increase tax-free. We traded in and out several times over a number of years. We also own a stock portfolio surrounded by a corporation that Kim and I call our potential mutual fund. We have friends who deal specifically with investors like us who have extra money each month to invest. We buy high risk, speculative private properties, private companies that are just about to go public on a stock exchange in the United States or Canada. Wow, y'all, we buy high-risk speculative private companies that are just about to go public on a stock exchange in the United States or Canada. As an example of how fast gains can be made is 100,000 shares purchased for 25 cents each before the company goes public. 6 months later, the company is listed and the 100,000 shares are now worth $2. If the company is well managed, the price goes up and the stock may go up to $20 per share. There are years when our 25,000 has gone to $1 million in less than a year. There are years when our 25,000 have gone to $1 million in less than a year. It is not gambling if you know what you're doing. It is not gambling if you're not throwing money into a deal and praying. The idea in anything is to use your technology, your technical knowledge, wisdom, and love of the game to cut the odds down or to lower the risk. Of course, there is always risk. It is financial intelligence that improves the odds. Thus, what is risky for one person is less risky for someone else. That is the primary reason I constantly encourage people to invest more in their financial education than in stocks, real estate, than in stocks, real estate or other markets. The smarter you are, the better chance you have of beating the odds. The stocks play a personally invested, the stocks plays I personally invested in were extremely high risk for most people and absolutely not recommended. I have been playing that game since 1979. He's saying don't just come in and think you about to play the stock game. Like he's been doing this for a long time. So study, get somebody to help you. I played this game for a long time, since 1979, and have paid more than my share in dues. But if you will reread why investments such as these are high risk for most people, you may be able to set yourself up differently. You may be able to set yourself up differently so that the ability to take 25,000 and turn it into 1 million in a year is a low risk for you. As stated, nothing I have written is a recommendation. It is only used as an example of what is simple and possible. Let me say that again. As stated earlier, nothing I have written is a recommendation. It is only used as an example of what is simple and positive. What I do is small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. Yet for the average individual, a passive income of more than $100,000 a year is nice and hard to achieve. Depending on the market and how smart you are, it could be done to 5 to 10 years. If you keep your living expenses modest, $100,000 coming in as an additional income is pleasant, regardless of whether you work. You can work if you like, or take time if you choose, and use the government tax system in your favor rather than against you. My personal basis is real estate. I love real estate because it's stable and slow moving. I keep the base solid. The cash flow is fairly steady, and if properly managed, has a good chance of increasing in value. The beauty of a solid base of a real estate is that it allows me to take greater risks as I do with speculative stocks. If I make great profits in the stock market, I pay capital gains tax. If I make greater profits in the stock, I lost my space. If I make greater profits in the stock market, I pay my capital gains tax on the gain and then reinvest what's left in real estate, again, further securing my asset foundation. A last word on real estate. I have traveled all over the world and taught investing. In every city, I hear people say you cannot buy real estate cheap. That is not my experience. Even in New York or Tokyo or just on the outskirts of the city, prime bargains are overlooked by most people. In Singapore, within their high real estate prices, than their high real estate prices, there are still bargains to be found within a short driving distance. I don't know why my voice is so froggy. It's the atmosphere, the air. I feel like my allergies are acting up. I'm sorry, y'all. So whenever I hear someone say, you can't do that here, pointing at me, I recommend them. I recommend them that maybe the real statement is, I don't know how to do that here yet. Great opportunities are not seen with your eyes. They are seen with your mind. Most people never get wealthy simply because they are not trained financially to recognize opportunities right in front of them. I am often asked, how do I start? In the final chapter of this book, I offer 10 steps that I followed on the road to my financial freedom. But also remember to have fun when you learn the rules and the vocabulary of investing and begin to build your asset column. I think y'all find that it's fun. It's a fun game as you ever played. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but have fun. Most people never win because they're more afraid of losing. That is why I found school so silly. In school, we learned the mistakes are bad and we were punished for making them. Yet, if you look at the way humans are designed to learn, we learn by making mistakes. We learn to walk by falling. If we never fall down, we would never walk. The same is true for learning to ride a bike. I still have scars on my knees, but today I can ride a bike. That's amazing. But today I can ride a bike without thinking. The same is true for getting rich. Unfortunately, the main reason people are not rich is because they are terrified of losing. Winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success. This is hitting me so, guys, and I'm just like, wow, because there are so many situations and so many things where I allow fear and just the thought of, and I talked about this in a segment I called Fear Driving Your Life? Because I was letting fear drive and lead and guide me every which way. And it was hard, to say the least, to get to a point where I did not allow fear to change my life. And so it used to shake me. It used to, they always say that God brings you stuff and it's not going to deter you from it, but it can delay you from it. And I feel like that's what I got was delay, delay from certain things. And I feel like I could have had more time if I recognized that sooner. He said failure is a part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success. That's powerful. He said, I look at money much like my game of tennis. I play hard, make mistakes, correct, make more mistakes, correct, and get better. If I lose the game, I reach across the net, shake my opponent's hand, smile, and say, see you next Sunday. Wow. I'm just so reminded of, I just keep having these flashbacks of time and even just like the endless possibility in all that is encompassing in here, to just take this in and really let it marinate and let it seep in your spirit. Like, there are so many lessons. There are so many lessons in here. And it is, we hold ourselves back and we hold ourselves hostage to all of these things that are so subconscious in our mind. We don't do stuff because we think this is going to happen. We have that anxiety because we think. We get ourselves so worked up with this picture or vision that don't even exist yet. We just assuming that it is. We're assuming why we can't do it. We're assuming stuff. And we just, we get so stuck. We get so stuck. We just right here in our brains. And we get so stuck in that thought process that you can't even see anything else. You can't see no other way. And some people, this is the way I've always done it. That's another thing. It is just, I just want to say a prayer. I'm like, Father God, I just bind the spirit of fear. I bind the spirit of shame and guilt and doubt. I bind the spirit of subconscious strongholds, Lord. I just pray that you will continue and allow your hedge of protection to go around all those that need it, Lord Jesus. And we will come before you, giving your name all the glory, honor, and praise. Amen. It is something in the spirit of fear. It's something in those subconscious strongholds. It's something in I failed before. I'm not going to try again. You got to try again. Fear is one of those things I kind of lean into. That's what I was taught, to lean into toward fear and use fear as my guide, not something to hold me bound or hold me hostage or keep me from doing, but something I can lean. I can lean into it. So he said there are two kinds of investors. The first and most common type is a person who buys a package investment they call a retail outlet, such as a real estate company, a stockbroker, or a financial planner, and they buy something. It could be a mutual fund, a REIT, REIT, a stock, or a bond. It is clean and simple way of investing. An analogy would be shoppers who go to a computer store and buy a computer right off the shelf. The second is the investor or an investor who creates investments. This investor usually assembles a deal in the same way of a person who buys components, builds a computer. I do not know the first thing about putting components of a computer together, but I do know how to put pieces of opportunities together or know people who know people. It is, if you can't do it, find somebody that will. Like, think outside the box. Stop, feeling like your way is the only way, or you can't get it done because you only know this one way to get it done. What's holding you up? What's holding you hostage? It is the second type of investor who is the more professional investor. Sometimes it may take years for all the pieces to come together, and sometimes they never do. It is a second type of investor that my rich dad encouraged me to be. It is important. Let me say that again. It is important to learn how to put the pieces together because that is where the huge wins are. That is where the huge wins are. It says where the wins reside, honey. Where the money resides. Where the money resides. What was that? I want to go where the winds reside. Where the winds reside. And sometimes some huge losses if the tide goes against you. If you want to be the second type of investor, you need to develop three main skills. Number one, find an opportunity that everyone else missed. You see it with your mind what others miss with their eyes. For example, a friend bought this run-down old house. It was spooky to look at. Everyone wondered why he bought it. What he saw that he did that was the house. What he saw that we did not was the house came with 4 extra empty lots. Oh man. He discovered that after going to the title company, after buying the house, he tore the house down and sold the 5 lots to a builder for 3 times that amount he paid down for the entire package. That's smart. He made $75,000 for 2 months of work. It's not a lot of money, but it sure beats minimum wage. And it's not technically difficult. Number 2, raise money. The average person only goes to the bank. The second type of investor needs to know how to raise capital, and there are many ways that don't require a bank. To get started, I learned how to buy homes and to get started, I learned how to buy houses without a bank. It was the learned skill of raising money more than the houses themselves that was priceless. All too often, I hear people say, the bank won't lend me money, or I don't have the money to buy it. If you want to be a type 2 investor, you need to learn how to do what stops most people. In other words, a majority of people let their lack of money stop them from making a deal. If you can avoid that obstacle, you will be billions. If you can avoid that obstacle, you will be millions ahead of those who don't learn those skills. Wow. I keep pausing because I'm just like, it's processing, like it's the processing for me. It's so simple. It's so simple. There have been many times I have bought a house, a stock, or an apartment building without a penny in the bank. I once bought an apartment house for 1.2 million. I did what is called tying it up with a written contract between the seller and the buyer. I then raised the $100,000 deposit, which brought me 90 days to raise the rest of the money. Why did I do it? Simply because I knew it was worth $2 million. I never raised the money. I never raised the money. Instead, the person who put up the 100,000 gave me 50,000 for finding a deal, took over my position, and I walked away. Total working time, 3 days. Again, it's what you know when it's what you know more than what you buy. Investing is not buying. It's more a case of knowing. Number 3 is organized, smart people. Intelligent people who work with or hire a person who is more intelligent than you. When you need advice, make sure you choose your advisor wisely. There's a lot to learn, but the rewards can be astronomical. If you do not want to learn those skills, then being a type 1 investor is highly recommended. It is what you know that is your greatest wealth. It is what you do not know is what you do not know that is your greatest risk. There's always risk, so learn to manage instead of avoiding it. Learn to manage instead of avoiding it. Chapter 5. The rich invent money, y'all. The rich invent money. I'm going to tell you what, thinking outside the box, and he didn't use the word passive income. He used the word reinvesting, right? He didn't use the word passive income, but it is creating these passive income ideas. He was buying the house for a lower price. Initially, he was like, I could have looked at a website where it's just houses for sale, or I could shift my mindset and understand that I can purchase some really good houses that are on foreclosure. I remember feeling some years ago some kind of way, like, oh my God, I don't want to be in anybody's houses, and had a house and they had some dreams and all that stuff. But then I thought, now I'm thinking, if I don't shift my mindset, I mean, they're out there. If I don't shift my mindset, somebody gonna get it. Why not it be me? Hmm. Just another way. It's I'm praying, y'all. I'm just praying and I'm praying and I'm praying, because it is a lot and it's very intimidating, and it's one of those things where I've always been like, I don't need to learn that. That's not my thing. When I was 16 years old, coming to Texas and walking into a classroom where they were like looking at the newspaper and reading the stock market and all of this stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't need to learn that. That's boring. I don't know what that's about. Crazy. Just because I wasn't not able to think outside the box. I wasn't able. I was so comfortable in my little four walls. And I wasn't going to allow you to teach me anything different. I thought it was boring. I really did. I thought it was boring. And so I was like, ah, that's not for me. That's for everybody else. That's not for me. Have you taken yourself out of the game before the game is even played? I'm just saying. Have you taken yourself out of the game before the game is even played? Hmm. Well, now it's time to say goodbye to all my. No, just playing. It's your girl Michelle Franklin, honey. It is so interesting, and it just takes me to a place of I'm grateful, y'all. It takes me to a place of gratefulness. It does humble my spirit. It does bring me down, because as I'm reading, I'm like, there's endless possibility in this. You can do things the way he did it. You can do it differently. You can do your own thing and put your spin on it. Take a little bit from every which way and put your own spin on it. But the goal is for you to do something different. Just do something different. Think outside the box, right? Do something different. Think outside the box. Um, I'm excited. I'm excited about what's to come. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about this new moon. I'm about to go do some grounding, honey. Yeah. Your girl's about to go do some grounding. We'll talk about that later. I want you. It's Friday. I will be back tomorrow in the morning. I am working tomorrow, so I'm going to come a little bit early. I'll be here early. The replays will be on. We'll do the review of chapter 5. On Sunday, we're talking about the Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free as the review of our week. And I'm like, what do I have on Monday? On Monday is chapter 6. Yeah. On Monday is chapter 6, and we're only doing the 6 lessons, that he taught us for, but I think it's 9 chapters in the book. But we're only reviewing the 6 lessons that he was taught. And then Tuesday, we're shifting on to relationships. We're shifting into relationships and what they have, what they are to you, what they are to me, what they have been, how they affect your mental health, how they boost your mental health up, if you got a good one. And so that's always good. The other thing we're doing is, I told you about the new moon. I've been trying to premiere these podcasts. I'm having all kind of technical difficulties. When I got a thing I gotta fix is it's not fixed. I said, boy, that must be the devil. Look, everything is a devil. Damn. It is the devil. And I want to get my good podcasts out, but best believe I have 3 recorded podcasts already. So those are coming. As soon as I figure out this equipment, they're coming. I'm putting it out into the atmosphere. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. I don't know when. That's faith, but they're coming. And so that's where I am with that. And as we continue along this journey, well, it's your girl, Michelle Franklin. That's it I got for you. I need to go get me some thing to eat. It's lunchtime. It's lunchtime. Your girl needs something to eat. So as I go on my way, I will say, continue to be open, honey. That's all about be open. I know that your faith might be tattered because of something that has happened to you, but I'll tell you what. Keep walking, honey. Keep walking. Everything you can't see, and I'll always have the answers or know when it's going to get better, but it will. It will. It will. Just remember that and know. This is your girl, Michelle Franklin. It is day 19, wrapping up day 19. Why do I do this? Because of the people out in the world that are suffering. My goal in my life, in this journey, my purpose. I've been a nurse for 22 years, but my purpose is to help those, reach back and help those that are suffering in silence in all things mental health, all things that affect your mental health, affects depression, affects anxiety, affects your panic attacks, affects you for the PTSD, all those things. And so as I walk this journey and I walk in this purpose, I always say when you walk in your purpose, you inspire others to walk in theirs, and I aspire to inspire until I expire. That is what I am doing. What you doing? Okay. Have a good one.